very warm welcome to you, and thank you so much for joining us on this special program brought to you by Shelter Incorporated. Today we'll be extending our conversations where we're joined in studio by Mr. Rinos Mautsa, who is an entrepreneur and also has his inclinations in all things to do with real estate. And we're extending our discussions looking at things to do with infrastructure development. Now, in our last discussion, we're defining infrastructure development, how it works, and its application in Zimbabwe. Maybe you can give us a better appreciation of infrastructure development in real estate.
I think I'm so keen in that area because I'm playing a role, especially in real estate,
Right.
with our construction, people construction.
Right.
But there's infrastructure development and real estate, they are intertwined.
Okay.
So you can't talk about real estate. And real estate it also contributes significantly to the GDP of our economy, of our country, and also to the development of our country, and to our societies as well, the well-being of our societies as well. So if you are to look at what has been happening using the case of Zimbabwe, maybe in the layman's term for easy clarity, I just want to give you an example of the new city, the so-called new city, Mount Abden. Right. It's yet to be named. But because it's in Mount Abden, I'll just call it Mount Abden.
Right.
But what the government did, it was a very smart move. And for me, that's the role of infrastructure development, without even defining.
Okay.
They said, we want to have a new city. It was going to be difficult for them to say, private players come and buy land and go and build there. Nobody was going to go there. Right. Because it would be a wastage. But the government went and set a parliament. And then came up with a blueprint of the arms of government that are going to put there. And the parliament that's infrastructure development as well. So when they did put a parliament, then they said, you know what, coming from the road to Bindura, that's Mazoe Road.
Yes.
We are going to put in 8-lane wide, road that is going to go straight to the parliament. So this is something new. We don't have something like that in Zimbabwe.
Right.
And in Africa, very few countries, they have 8-lane roads. And that's infrastructure development as well. Right. Then the telecommunication companies are coming and they're putting the telecommunication infrastructure, the likes of Liquid Telecom, the Tel1 and others, they're coming and putting the fiber, cables in that area. So if I'm a developer, even if I'm an investor in infrastructure projects, automatically I'm intrigued because I know the fundamentals, they're already in place. So infrastructure development plays a very pivotal role in real estate. Why? Because I can't go and build where there are no sewer, there's no water, no electricity. Yes, we have neighborhoods in Zimbabwe, and in Africa it's a common problem across Africa, where people will build but there's no sewer, there's no water. People are struggling with water, they buy water and it then spreads some diseases. And we are saying infrastructure contributes to the well-being of a society. Because if you have sewer and clean water, automatically the well-being of society is catered for. We don't have these diseases, waterborne diseases and other related diseases. So if you are looking at the case of Mount Abden, for me, that was smart of government, for them to do. And if you are looking at for infrastructure development, we are seeing now the triple P. Okay. Government will then come to private sector and say, okay, as government, our coffers are a bit low, and we want you to come and join hands with us. Okay. Come and put offices for government, then we pay you over a period of time. But what you do, once we have block of offices for different ministries, automatically lawyers, let's say Judiciary Service Commission, has set up offices for the High Court in Mount Abden. Automatically, if I'm a lawyer, I'm then inclined to set up my office there. So that it's easy transport, easy traveling and stuff. Automatically, National Railways of Zimbabwe, they have to partner with other players in the region, they have to come and put new infrastructure, rail infrastructure, to connect with the Charles Prince Airport. Yeah. So that we have the tram cars, those ones, those will be just connecting, come to picking people in bulk, like what we've seen in Europe, even in Africa, the likes of, I think in Morocco, if you see in the city, you'll be seeing this, tram cars and stuff, So that's infrastructure as well.
Yeah, you've already started getting into what my next question was going to be, which is the future of infrastructure development. And I think you very eloquently pointed out how the smart city development speaks towards infrastructure development in Zimbabwe, but then at the same time also how it can better us going forward. Maybe you can expand a bit more on that.
The future for me, I have a cautious, cautious optimism. You know,
Right.
I don't know if there's something like that.
Yeah.
I'm so optimistic, but with caution.
Right.
Why? Because there's some basic fundamentals that needs to be also addressed. The government have really played a very pivotal role. If you have to look at our roads right now, what we are seeing, the level, you don't have to like the government.
Sure.
You know, you don't have to be part of the government for you to see that there's development happening here. What we are seeing now, since 2000, we have never seen it. No. If you want to be someone who is very objective, so we are seeing some roads being put in place. You know, the Bed Bridge Road, that's a key infrastructure. Why? Right. Because that one contributes to the economic development of Zimbabwe. Well, that's a very vital route that connects Zimbabwe with South Africa and to the sea. And we are talking about the Mutare Road connecting us to Beira as well. That's a very key infrastructure. And right now we are seeing Churundu also, that is coming into place. Yeah. So a key infrastructure.
Finally, yeah.
Exactly. So the future, I think the future is bright, but there are certain fundamentals that needs to be also in place. The private sector, it has to come in. Right. And also our procurement, the price fluctuation, not to do with maybe we are not talking about the value of our ZIG, no, but I just take the general pricing model of our the resources that feeds into the infrastructure development. Right. So you find that we are highly priced, as a nation. So there's something that costs maybe $10 in South Africa. I'm just giving as a round figure. Here it will be $100. Right. How can you justify that? Something that costs 2 cents in China, here is $200. So those disparities now, they cause maybe the cost of infrastructure development to be so high. So because of that, it then delays, in terms of where we should get to. Right. And that's number one. Number two, also, I was talking about the private sector coming to the fore. But for the private sector coming, there mistrust between government and private sector. To say, okay, I want to come. What if there's overnight policy change? That's the thing. Okay, I want to come. Right now, there's no water in the low density suburbs, the Greendale, Chisipiti, Mandara areas, and the Green Lawn. All those areas we don't have water. Grange, there's no water. Those guys, they are using boreholes. But is it sustainable in this era to use borehole water like we're in the village? No, it's not sustainable. Right. So what are we doing about it? What is the private sector doing about it? Right. We know very well that the city of Harare don't have capacity. And this plays, it applies even if you go to Zambia. It's the same story, save for few countries in Africa, in sub-Saharan Africa. But most of the countries, the same story. Certain neighborhoods, no water at all. Yeah. So what are we doing as private sector? For me, I'm seeing an opportunity. Why can't you have those with money going to the city of Harare and government to say, you know what, I want to take water from Darwin Dam. And that's infrastructure development. And I'll bring water straight to the neighborhoods, to the low density suburbs. And these guys, they have money. Then I'll put the smart meters for water. And they start paying me. I deduct from every $100 they are paying, or every dollar they are paying, I will take $80, 80 cents. And government or the city council will return 20 cents until I cope what I invested in. But what does it do? Automatically, there's water in those neighborhoods. And at the same time, the level of economic development, it spirals into other aspects of in the value chain. Yeah. So for me, we are heading in the right direction, but there are a lot of things that needs to be done. And also, lastly, the third point is on the funding. Yes. Our banks don't have appetite. Not only appetite, they might have appetite, but they don't even have the money to fund infrastructure projects. So all the development you are seeing, Pension funds, yes, they are the ones who are which is normal in a normal economy. Pension funds, they play a pivotal role. But our banks, they are also supposed to play a huge role also. A certain percentage of the infrastructure project is supposed to go to the banks, others to the government, others to the pension fund. But what you are seeing is an anomaly. You find that the banks, in terms of funding infrastructure projects, local banks, it's less than 5%. I don't know, it's just a figure I'm throwing. But it's less, if you have to look at the level, it's less than, save for the few banks that are investing in real estate. But in infrastructure development,
still less
than 5% for local banks, if I'm to, from the figures I've seen. But we need to see the banking sector coming into the fore. And they have to fund certain infrastructure. If we do that, if everyone is coming to the table, believe me, by the next decade, all our rural areas will be having electricity, pipe to water, will be having, telecoms, networks, and etc. Yeah.
Right. I'm excited to hear a bit more about that. But otherwise, I thank you so much for your contributions, and we look forward to speaking to you again in future.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I was joined there by Mr. Rinos Mautsa, who's an entrepreneur and also sharing a lot more issues around the infrastructure development. We do implore you to keep being part of the conversation, take advantage of our social media platforms. That's all the time that we had for now. Pleasant viewing.